So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of hand this off to you in the beginning, just let you guys introduce yourselves, and then let's just get into it because I'm really interested in what you guys are doing here, uniquely connecting the digital and physical worlds. So Josh, Brandon, Greg, who wants to start first? Who wants to introduce themselves first?
Sure. I mean, for introductions, I can kick us off. So Josh Pendrick, co-founder and CEO of the company. Yeah, Brandon, it's you and Greg and
Hey, how's it going? Brandon, Chief Visionary of the company.
Greg
also
Mills,
co-founder.
Chief Business Officer, Ripples.
So actually my first question is, how do you pronounce the name of the company? I was wondering about that. I was looking at it and I'm like, how do I pronounce this?
Yeah, it's Ripples.
Ripples. I like that. That's pretty cool. And where did you get that name from? Why did you pick that name?
Oh, Brandon, this is you.
Yeah, we were, truth be told, we were actually looking for a domain name, and we were going to go with Ripple, how you normally spell it, but this was the only one that was available. So we decided to pick it up. And when we looked at it, it was actually kind of made sense. So if you look at the name, it's RYPPLZZ. And if you break those up into 3 bits, right? It's like RY, PPL, people, and ZZ. So started looking up what these things meant, and basically RY is like, it turns out, is the lowest state of a hydrogen molecule, something like this, and then PPL is people, right? Is how we interpret it, and ZZ was a scale of a toy train set, and so kind of with what we're doing with spatial engineering, spatial computing, it actually kind of made sense because, and how it found us is really how we feel about it. Um, because our whole goal with spatial engineering is to help people get from A to B with the lowest energy possible using spatial data sets, like, which is a scale of life. And so similar to the scaled toy train set to a real train. And so it's interesting how it kind of worked out like that.
I love that. I love that. So your company's mission is to integrate digital experiences with the physical environment through your patented Interlife platform, which transforms airspace into interactive digital engagement opportunities. Explain that. I left that hanging. I've got like, I'm looking at all my chats and they're all like, huh? It
Yeah.
sounds so cool. What does it
Well,
mean?
I think like just kind of taking a step back, like just to set the proper context here for discussion with here talking on in the other verse and what partnering with someone like our otherverse would mean is really when you think of the metaverse, like what Ripples has really done is we've really built,
So
I would
cool.
say, the critical infrastructure to truly bridge the metaverse and the physical world. And really to understand that, it probably would be helpful to kind of understand, what exactly it is that we do, what our technology system is, and kind of what that, what the things that are possible with it. So if it'd be helpful for you, and we can start there and kind of give a little brief overview of that.
Please, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think as a starting point of this, we can think about the the invention that our chief scientist came, basically invented. So our chief scientist, who is one of the most talented people on the planet when it comes to geospatial technologies, geolocation technologies, and he was a engineer at NASA Jet Propulsion Labs for over a decade. He developed an algorithm that allowed us to track devices to very precise locations. So most people are familiar with, their GPS and how GPS can track location, right? And GPS can track down to, let's say, 10 to 20 feet on average, with commercial grade GPS. And that's only really in 2 dimensions. It's not getting the height off the ground, if that makes sense. Um, so with this, what we've been able to come up with is a way to track devices using radio frequency down to 6-inch accuracy, and do that in 3 dimensions, right? So you get like the altitude. right? So you can essentially track a device the exact 6-inch cube of airspace, if you follow me. Now, as you might imagine, that's got some really valuable applications for a lot of different use cases and industries in the world. But more importantly than all of that, what that does is it really enables us the ability to be able to map airspace. So like if you like if everyone listening right now can just like picture the room they're sitting in, or like the whole neighborhood that they're sitting in, being completely immersed in this invisible 3D grid of little 6-inch cubes of air. You picture that, Anna?
I'm picturing it. I'm sitting in
Okay,
it.
cool.
I'm
Well,
visualizing.
good. So we literally create that grid. Like we map the airspace. Every one of those cubes of air gets an address associated to it, like air real estate. And then we enable the ability to actually program digital files to those precise addresses of airspace that can then interact with phones or other types of devices, whether that's smart glasses, whether that's wearables like smartphones, smartwatches, drones, vehicles, all sorts of different things. And really what this does is it really enables this intelligent airspace, especially when you factor in the ability that we have the ability to process significant amounts of data for all the different objects that are kind of connecting through the environment. And so essentially what it does is it really just turns the actual physical world into the computer itself, and really and we're essentially pioneering this sort of new generation of computing where it's we call it environment computing, spatial computing, where really, people, devices, and the physical world, physical spaces all become seamlessly connected. And so with that, you really can do some very interesting things when you're connecting the virtual world, into the physical world. We can talk about some of those specific examples, but I'll just pause there and see if these guys have anything they want to add on that, Brandon or Greg.
No, I
You got
think
it.
Nice.
making my job easier. So keep going.
Yeah.
Super
like,
clear,
so-
actually. Extremely interesting too.
So like as an example, like so you could understand the different ways like this can be applied. So I mean, really, using this intelligent airspace, it could be as simple as just a message is programmed. Let's say in this 1 foot cube of air in front of your face, right? There's a digital file programmed in there, and let's say it's programmed to interact with the phone. It could be as simple as like phone comes into that airspace and it triggers some digital action to happen. That could be just a message that I have access on my phone only if it's in those coordinates, for example. Or that could trigger some alerts or alarms to go off and some faraway admin security console somewhere. Really anything, any digital action can be triggered from that. And that's an example with a phone. But in addition to phones, like we said, it could be other types of devices. So it could be, an audio headset. And we're getting into some projects right now where they want to use the technology to essentially help guide people around using audio commands that will trigger as people walk through these physical environments that will help, either guiding, visually impaired people on where they can go, or guiding people in, at museums and exhibits, playing audio tours as they walk around. So you kind of get a sense of like the different ways this can be applied.
I love that. And actually, I have a really brief question here, or it might not be brief, but because we are, streaming live to two virtual worlds right now, two metaverses, what would be the applications for metaverses that you would see?
Well, from a starter, I mean, these guys, I'm sure, can share some really cool ideas that we've already, conjured up. But from a starting point, I think it's really, really important when we talk about augmented reality to understand just how Ripples is changing the game with augmented reality, and then we'll tie this back to kind of the metaverse, which is the pure virtual world.
Please do. Yeah.
So when it comes to augmented reality, really all AR technologies are powered with visual positioning systems, basically like camera vision and or GPS, some combination of that. And so, and we use those technologies as well, but we're really changing the game for the whole industry of what's possible in augmented reality, because now what you can do using Ripple's technology is you can literally program these AR objects, these virtual objects, to precise coordinates of the real world, right? Um and they can persist in those locations, and it opens up a whole new level for what's actually possible in terms of the level of experience, the content, the interactivity in real time as people and devices are moving through. So I think that's important just to kind of know up front how this is really just going to kind of up level the whole industry, and in terms of the fun and interesting things we can do as it pertains to augmented reality. And then when it comes to kind of the metaverse world, it's what we can do now is sort of create experiences and environments where people that are participating in something like the otherverse, metaverse, like those things can kind of have a bridge to connect with what's happening in the physical world, where that's being at, at a specific venue, that you actually have to be somewhere in the physical world, at some specific location to get access to do something in the metaverse world, right? And there's a whole bunch of different ideas like that we sort of conjured up in talking with the otherverse crew.
I love that. I actually have a question that came from the audience. I'm going to ask you this right now because it kind of seems to fit into what you're speaking about. Is there a dream application that seems impossible right now that you would like to, or that you've thought of that you would like to work towards?
Well, that's a good
So
question.
yeah,
It came from the audience.
yeah, well, no, it's a great question, and the answer is 1,000% yes, and we have multiple of them. The question is, what are we going to be able to share in this public forum? So I'm gonna lean on Brandon to make that
Give
call.
us hints. Give us hints.
Yeah.
I'll say there's lots of crazy ones. I guess it's not just what we want to share in a public forum, but how far down the crazy hole we want to go.
You know what? These guys are the metaverse. They love crazy. I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's gonna be really
We're the problem.
yeah. That's what they're here for.
They're I think, well, I guess I'll just say that I think, and I'd be curious to get Greg's thoughts on this too. I'm sure he has some thoughts from a business standpoint, but from a just pure ideation standpoint, I think there's definitely a few realms that we'd like to get into. Like, I think taking our connected environment that we were mentioning and having that be synced in real time with virtual and digital environments. I think there's a lot of interactivity that can occur on a global scale there. And I think the ways that that connects people, I think is going to provide a whole new way of networking based on location. I think that's going to be super interesting. Um, with an altruistic goal of, that's going to be, I think, a new way of meeting, greeting, uniting people from across the planet. So I think there's those sorts of dream applications, and the implications that would have, I think, are vast. And then I think another technology that we sort of looked at that's actually getting a lot of hype in the last day or two is neural technology. So like with the Orion glasses that Meta just released, they're starting to dabble in non-invasive brain computer technology. And I think that that's another sort of device and application, brain computer technology, that I think is going to have some pretty crazy implications, especially when you can merge those with the first one that we were mentioning, which is basically spatial networking instead of social networking. This like time and space, how you meet and greet with people, and when you factor in a device, not just AR but brain computer interfaces, I think that leads down some pretty interesting roads that we have been exploring. We're looking into exploring. It's just the right time to release certain things. And so those are two interesting things to us that would, I guess, no pun intended, be a dream application.
Greg, do you have something to say?
Yeah. No, they're doing my work for me. I think it's what the Otherverse does, and with the way they're allowing people to create their worlds in the virtual world, you know, our dream is to take, not only allow people to build those virtual worlds, but actually build those worlds in the physical. And I think when you give, you know, an individual the ability, I think we're all creators at heart, right? I think we're all influencers at heart. And so, you know, our dream is to give each individual the ability to create their world, you know, and connect with the people, places, and things that interest them, and then drive people to those interests that might interest them, not unlike what you do within the environment that you know, you create in the other verse. So really map out the world for people to engage each other in different ways. I mean, the other verse is amazing, right? And what we do is amazing. I think, you know, when we connect the digital to the physical, and I think what we all understand is movement matters, right? And so you can be in the other verse and have this, you know, incredible experience, but now us sort of partnering and working with the other verse to take people not out of that virtual experience, but now and connect them into the real world and still have a similar experience in the physical. And I think that's really what that we're about. If that makes
Exactly.
sense.
It totally makes sense. And I completely agree with you 100% on everything you just said. I had another question that came in. With the rate of technology and how fast everything is going, how do you stay on top of everything? How do you stay ahead?
What do you think, Brandon? You want to take that one?
It's
Yeah.
a challenge. It's a challenge. I know that.
Yeah, no, it is a challenge. I think it's got to be, you know, definitely a passion, you know, where you just kind of, it's part of your daily routine. You just wake up and you just stay with these things. And, you know, I think we've been fortunate to have a technology that's kind of allowed us to see the field of everything from an infrastructure perspective. And, you know, it's kind of like when you understand, um, you know, if you're building a building, right, and the building is only as good as its foundation, you know, if the foundation is the infrastructure, you know, there's a lot of different technologies that are coming and going with, you know, interior design of the building, so to speak, the plumbing of the building, the furniture or the types of businesses that fit in the building. But ultimately, you know, the building, the goal of the building is to stand strong and support whatever's going in there. And I think, you know, with our technology being more spatial communication infrastructure, I think it's given us a unique insight into how to organize the myriad of different things that are going on in the tech space today, and really kind of keep track of things and know how to stay ahead of things and accurately predict things, because, you know, able to just see the pros and cons of different technologies from an infrastructure standpoint, the where the limitations might, you know, meet the road, so to speak. I think that's really kind of how we've been staying on top. And I, you know, imagine as we keep pushing the infrastructure ahead, because we're not stopping with developing what we've already done, I think that's just going to allow us to, you know, at a minimum, be a key thought influencer in terms of, you know, things to consider for technology and our perspectives on it.
Great, thank you. So I know we only have a little bit of time left, but can you share anything about future vision and insights into the future?
You know, I actually have a question for the audience really quick. We'll answer that. But really quick, it would be great to hear, presumably for people that are maybe long-term Otherverse members that are out there in the audience, or maybe some new folks that are kind of coming into this, like based on knowing what they're learning about what Ripples is doing right now, for the first time, and of course being well aware of the Otherverse, are there ideas that you all would like to see happen, you know, that Ripples can enable in partnership with the Otherverse, and experiences that would be really exciting? I mean, I think that would be a good question to answer. And then also, yeah, Anna, we'll answer your question too.
Well, definitely. Let's put that question out there. There is a little bit of delay in our stream. So you've heard the question. When you do hear the question, we'll put it out there. I'll keep my eyes on the chat. And if for some reason, we're going to get this later because the stream is also being replayed, I'll make sure I'll get that answer to you if for some reason we don't get it within the time.
That'd be fantastic.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll 100%, I promise, because now that we have our contact info has been exchanged. So, but yeah, while I'm waiting to see if there's any answers that come in from that, I don't know if you want to start
Yeah, and sorry,
talking.
can you repeat your question?
I just, yeah, there's sometimes like anywhere from a 30-second to it could be up to 3 minutes delay. Sometimes it depends on the stream. I was just talking about the future and insights on how you're leading the convergence of digital and physical realms.
I mean, I'll give my piece and then I'll yield to these guys. So, I mean, look, as I was saying about the whole next, this is how we see it from a really big picture, right? Like we view that we're in the early days right now of like the next major shift in computing. And what I mean by that, like I think of this being like the third major shift. If you think of the first big shift was going from the mainframe computer to personal computers in like late 70s, early 80s, where, you know, as some people out there may remember, the thought at that time was like, why would we need a computer in the home, right? That was actually the mindset at one point in time. And, you know, so the whole Apple, Microsoft, you know, IBM deal, you know, with that generation. And then in the early 2000s, we moved to this, right? The mobile computer, the smartphone, and you know, the mobile app boom, and it's what we're living off now. And, you know, entire billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies sort of built off that, you know, that infrastructure. And now we are in the early days, as I was saying, of what this new generation of computing is, which you can think of as environment computing or spatial computing, where the, you know, the actual physical world becomes the computing environment, right? And there's been talk about this for a number of years, but it hasn't really, you know, sort of kind of gone beyond just what, you know, spatial computing is kind of been synonymous with augmented reality and computer vision, and you know, there's other limitations that's really kind of kept it there. But what we're now really providing this platform that can provide the true infrastructure to really power this environment computing generation, and what that really means to have intelligent airspace. What does that mean for smart cities? What does that mean for connecting the digital and physical world? Basically, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, from a vision perspective, like we really see Ripples being that operating system that's powering, you know, the entire physical world, right? Like the Microsoft Windows for the physical world. And that's really where we see the vision going.
Yeah,
Great.
I'll agree with that. And I also think that what's interesting about what we're doing is just my little piece on that is, you know, that tech vision, the impact that it's going to have, you know, with policy across society. I think is interesting, you know, right now where we're starting to see certain industries have to contemplate how they manage automation and people, right? Because at the end of the day, we're still people. People need to eat. People need resources, and you know, our technology being a central factor in driving automated applications forward. You know, I think one of the things that we look forward to with the vision in the future is, you know, how we can sort of affect policy moving forward. You know, finding a harmonious balance between automation, you know, efficiency of different applications, and providing a better quality of life for people at the same time. And, you know, I think this is a rare situation with spatial computing to where, you know, we're gonna have to look at societal models, right? Like I think one of the best that has the ethos of what we're looking at is like conscious capitalism, right? Where it's, you know, there are some benefits to capitalism, but I think at the same time too, we're in a situation where it can't all be about a bottom line. There's a bunch of different factors that we got to adhere to. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, just remember that, you know, really what all this is going to facilitate is just a better quality of life for people. And I think it's important that as we move forward, the vision is to keep sight of that purpose.
Amen.
Yeah, no, that's, you nailed it. You nailed it.
I am getting a few comments back from the audience. Most of them are saying they actually want to think about it. They want to think about the applications and things that they could, in terms of your question, they want to have some, they hadn't thought about it before today. And so they want a chance to think about it and then give you some feedback later. So that was like the majority of what people are saying to me. One other person said, this could be used to guide people around digital replicas of real life places, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, imagine hypothetically, I've been to a restaurant And Anna, I think you'll love this restaurant, and I could leave a piece of content at this restaurant that shows you the best seat in the house where you should sit, the meal that I had. Try this cocktail. By the way, this waiter was amazing, or this bartender pours great drinks, or whatever it may be, and leave that personalized experience for you. And then you in turn could do that for Josh, and Josh can in turn do that for Brandon. I mean, really connecting the world and the people is, I think that's my vision.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I have a feeling that our user base would absolutely adore that as well. I think that's a fantastic application. Fantastic. Yeah.
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 Everyone can certainly would love for them to take the time to think about it. And we would love to hear your suggestions. I mean, they can go to our website and there's contact info on there, and send us a note, and we will definitely, I promise you, we'll read it. We'll read every one.
All
We'd
right.
love to hear from you.
All right. So I'll make sure that everybody gets the contact information in the chat boxes, both on YouTube, everywhere, Twitch, everywhere that we're streaming right now. And I've got you for 3 more minutes. Any last words, gentlemen? Thank you so much for being here and sharing this information with us. And of course, once again, audience, please get your feedback to us. They definitely want to hear it. But last words?
I can say we're looking forward to our partnership with the Otherverse. I mean, I think that we're extremely excited and honored to be a part of it. And I hope you guys are as honored as we are to be a part of yours, as you are to be a part of ours.
100%. And I'm speaking on behalf of Others right now. After meeting with you today and seeing what you have to offer, I'm extremely excited about this.
And I'll just say, I think it's one thing I'll say closing is, I think, us being a high tech, thing is, it's kind of like real recognize real. And
Yep.
I think, the fact that, the Otherverse has such good underlying technology, with all the patents and just the performance of the platform, I think it's cool that, it's cool to see such a large community of people who also in some way, shape, or form, recognize and appreciate the intricacies and the effort and the skill that goes into building something, of quality, high tech. And so I think that's just a shout out to the community themselves for being able to at least be a part of it somehow, some way, be aggregated to it.
That's one of the things that is really beautiful and wonderful about this, about Otherverse. I've been here since the inception, and we are really community based. We are founded on the community. The community has helped build us, and that's what we're all about. So I'm looking forward to seeing the feedback that they give you guys, and I'll make sure to pass it on to you. Josh.
I would say stay tuned. You haven't seen anything yet.
Oh my gosh, good words. Good words. I love those words.
Love it.
Josh, any last words?
I think these guys nailed it. I can't top that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to go out.
That was my small mic drop.
that was a really pretty big mic drop, actually.
It's exciting. Stay tuned, everybody. Stay tuned. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Thanks again, Anna.
Thank you, guys. I know everybody's super excited. I can see it in the chat. Thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to be here with us and sharing the project with us. We're so stoked.
Thank you.
Stoked to see you. Yeah. And we'll see you soon inside the world. Guys, stay tuned. In 30 minutes, we're going to be having at 3 p.m. Tokenized Lore with Jeff McCabe right here in the channel. Thanks so much to the guys from Ripples, and we'll be seeing them in Otherverse very soon. Once again, thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.